What is up, guys? MooseMike here from Deadly Domination Gaming, and today I'm going to do another how-to video. This particular video is going to focus on the DualShock 4 controller for the PlayStation 4. Now, this controller that you guys see in the picture, this is my very first DualShock controller. I got it with my first PlayStation 4. It's provided me with a lot of good years of gaming until just recently I had some issues with the X button, was not working at all. So basically this video is going to focus on how to tear down the controller as well as how to clean the controller on the inside, because that was actually my issue. Underneath my X button, after dismantling the controller, I had a bunch of gunk in between the X button and the actual motherboard, so it was not registering whenever I would hit the X button. So if you guys have trouble maybe with a certain button on your controller not working properly, that may or may not be your problem, but that might be something that you want to look into just to make sure there's nothing obstructing the button from actually registering. So as you can see here too, I actually, a while ago, I fixed my R2 button. The spring actually popped on it and it was jiggling around inside the controller, and it was just causing the R2 button just to stay and not actually spring back up whenever you would depress the button. So we got that fixed. So I will also show you the spring and everything inside of this controller. So let's get right to it. So for this project, I am going to also use this handy dandy PlayStation 4 screwdriver kit that I ordered on Amazon for less than $10. It not only works for the console, but it also works for the controllers as well. So we're going to go ahead and open up this bad boy. And for this particular project, I think we're only going to need this small Phillips screwdriver. We have 4 screwdrivers in total. We have 2 Torx and 2 Phillips. So we're just going to need the smallest for this project. Put the others aside for right now. I also have my white sheet of paper. It comes in handy whenever I am putting my screws down. But just to show you guys, just so you know, I can't use the controller right now because I'm actually recording on the PlayStation. But I will plug it in just to show you that it does light up and it does work properly. Now that it is fixed. So we'll go ahead and pull this back out, and it is showing actually that my controller is dying. It needs charged. So we're going to go ahead and dismantle this bad boy. So you got 4 screws on the back side. You're just going to use your small Phillips. Start by taking these 4 screws out. Just be careful whenever you're taking the screws out and putting them back in, because they do tend to strip easily. Actually, this one I just took out is a little bit stripped, so it took me a minute on that one. But yeah, just be careful because they are very small grooves in the screws, and they will strip rather easily, so just be careful with that. So we're going to take these 4 screws out, just like that. Alright. And number 4. Alright, so when you get your 4 screws out, then we're going to go ahead and begin to start breaking the controller down. So, you're going to simply take this bottom piece. This part is detached from this part. So you're just going to take and pop that free. You hear a little pop there. And then we're going to go ahead and snap the next one free. Now you want to be very careful with these because there's little grooves inside here that hold this thing together. So just gently pop it like that. Don't go too hard on it because you can snap certain parts in the controller. So just pop that, and then gently you're going to see how the R2 and L2 buttons are connected to the front piece. So we're going to just very carefully guide the back piece over top of these pieces just so we don't pop these out. And if we do pop these out, I'll show you how to fix that as well. So I'm going to try to just pop that over top of that. Okay, so we did pop one out. Now along with that, we also popped out the spring that holds that R2 button. So I'm going to drop that spring. We'll come back to that, and I'll show you guys what the spring looks like. The spring, let's see if we can get it in focus. It looks something like this. That is what will hold your R2 button and make your R2 button, L2 button spring back up. Okay, so we're going to put that aside for right now and get to the problem at hand. So you're going to see a ribbon on your back plate connected to your front plate where your battery's at. Just take that ribbon and just pull that ribbon right out of there. It comes out real easy. Then you can set your back plate aside. We don't need that. Your battery, also just pop that right out. Just like that. Set your battery aside. Okay, and now behind that battery is going to be one more Phillips screw. Same screwdriver. You're just going to take and undo that screw. Loosen that screw up. And this will give you, this will be the last screw that you're going to need to loosen up, and this will give you access to the rubber pads that are connected to all your buttons. So after you get that screw out, you're going to go ahead, pop your chip off. This whole mechanism is going to come right out. Oh yeah, my mistake, guys. You're going to see a ribbon up here up top too as well. You'll see a little tab here with a ribbon. This is still holding this to the front of the controller. So you're going to take and just grab that tab and pop it out like that. Once you do that, then you'll be able to free up this back piece. It should come right out. And just be very careful. Pull that ribbon aside because sometimes it can hold that back piece. Just like that. It's going to pop right out. It's going to give you access to your analog sticks on the front. You'll see your for your vibration on each side, as well as where all your buttons are going to register right there. Okay, so we don't need this anymore, but if you'd like, you can use alcohol with Q-tips, any type of thing like that. Clean around your analog sticks, clean around your top buttons, clean all this stuff out inside. Also, compressed air will also work as well to blow some of that dust out. So if you want, you can clean all this stuff out real nice, make your controller brand new again. And now we have access. Now, what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, the X button on my controller, which is right here, was not working, which is why I dismantled my controller and broke it down. I had some sort of buildup back there, a bunch of gunk that apparently was obstructing this rubber piece from registering whenever I would hit the button, so that was my issue. I cleaned that out, good as new. Put it all back together, everything worked properly. So if you're having trouble with one of your buttons registering, you can also pull these plastic pieces off right here, and this will give you access to the buttons themselves that are behind this plastic piece. So you can clean this off the other way too. You can clean off your buttons as well as the insides in here and get that all nice and cleaned up. That way you won't have to worry about any more dust, any foreign particles obstructing your buttons from registering. So once you get that all cleaned up, now this is what fixed my problem. Also, you might have something bouncing around in there or something, but this will give you access to find out what's going on with that. But once you get that problem all solved, you can go ahead and begin to put your mechanism back together. Now, basically, you're just going to take it the same way you took it down. You're going to grab this unit right here, and you're going to pop that unit right in there just like that. Same way you took it out. Make sure everything is pressed back together correctly. Okay, and then once you do that, you're going to take that ribbon that we took out to disconnect that. We're going to put that back in. It can be a little difficult to get a hold of that slot where the ribbon goes in. but once you get it, you'll be able to push that right down. Okay guys, so whenever you have that ribbon pushed back down in there, it should fit just snug. You don't have to over push it, but once you have it pushed back down in there, then the next step, you're going to take one of your screws again, and you're going to put it, you'll see these 3 holes here. You're going to put it in this bottom one right here. Press that right down in there. Then you're going to take your driver, screw that bad boy back in there. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and snug. Don't over tighten it. And now the next step for me, what I'd like to do is, whenever I took this mechanism apart, my R2 button didn't come out with the rest of it. So I'm going to pop this R2 button out of this back piece. Just wiggle it out. Just work it right out of there. Okay. Now if you remember the spring that I had from earlier, you got your spring, you got your R2 button. Now you're going to go ahead and put that spring. You'll see on the R2 button, you'll see a little divot right there. You're going to put that spring right over top of that. So one part of that spring fits in there, and then you have another part of your spring free. Now you're going to grab your controller. I apologize guys, this is probably going to be a little difficult to do with one hand, but we'll do the best we can. You're going to grab your controller, and you'll see a little indent. I'm trying to get this into view as best as I can, guys. But you'll see it once you rip it apart if you do the same thing that I did. You're going to see a little indent. You're going to put that spring right in there. Let me push this down real quick. There we go. You're going to put that spring right in there. Work it in there as best as you can, and then once you get it in, you're going to snap that button into place. So it should look something like this. I apologize if the focus isn't very well on this, but it should look something like this. And before you put the back plate on, test it. Push it up and down. Make sure that it's on there properly. Mine isn't. I got to snap it in a little bit better. There we go. Press up and down on that. It should depress and pop right back up when you press it down. That's how you know it's in properly. Okay, so now what you're going to do is put your battery back on. Very simple. You'll see exactly how it goes in. It just pops right in there like that. Just set that battery right down in its little holding place, and I apologize guys, that was out of view. This here, you're just going to pop that right back in there. And then you set your battery right back in its harness where it goes. And then for your back plate, you have your ribbon here that we popped out earlier. First thing, you're going to pop that ribbon in there first. Just like that. Just make sure it sets right in there. And then bring your back plate around. Then you're going to see your two little things where your screws go right there. I have one, and also right here. So you're going to make sure that you get these bottom parts of your DualShock over that, just like that. And then put your casing over the R2 and L2 button, just like that. And then these little guys down here, you're going to just pop these in there, and then just wiggle it around, snap it all back together, just like that. Okay? So now you want to also, again, before you screw it back on, just test your R2 and L2 buttons again. Make sure that they pop back up, just like that. Make sure that's proper and they're popping back up, because you don't want to screw it all back together and then find out that they're not. So make sure you check them again. Then it's just same thing you did earlier. You're just going to take all 4 screws, just like that. Grab your screwdriver, screw your 4 screws back in. Oh, and here I am trying to screw one into the reset button. I apologize for that, guys. So yeah, you're going to see right here where I'm screwing this in, to the left hand side of it is a reset button. Okay, so just take that, take your screw, screw it right down into there. And also, guys, too, if you're ever having trouble with your controller, if it's going out of whack, if something's not working properly, as far as a button not depressing properly on it, first things first, hit that reset button in the back just to make sure your controller doesn't need reset, because sometimes that's all the issue is just resetting the controller. So that would certainly take away a lot of work that you would potentially be doing if that worked. So try resetting it, and if that works for you, that's a good thing. Okay, so we're on our last screw here. Gonna get that bad boy down in there. There you have it, guys. One DualShock 4 controller ready to go. Cleaned up inside. Like I said, you can take a little bit of alcohol to them controller or them button pads behind here. Get that all cleaned up, maybe a little compressed air. Get everything cleaned up and good to go. And sometimes that will fix the problem with your buttons. I'm not guaranteeing that that's exactly what the issue is, but in my case, that was the issue. And it's always a good start to dismantle your controller just to make sure that there's no gunk obstructing anything. So guys, if you have any questions for me, give me a comment in the comment section, and we'll take it from there. If you have any suggestions on something else you can do as far as breaking down the controller to fix certain things, you could let me know that as well, guys. So again, my name is MooseMike from Deadly Domination Gaming. I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching my videos. Until next time, take it easy, guys.